Dean Vexithara adjusted her crystalline viewing apparatus with 3 of her 6 manipulator appendages, watching the holographic display with barely concealed excitement. The data streams showed test scores, psychological profiles, and capability assessments, all belonging to a single species that had become the most sought-after commodity in elite academic circles across the galaxy: humans. The Terran delegation arrives in 2 standard cycles, announced her assistant Clicktar, his chitinous exoskeleton clicking nervously. The Zephyrian Institute has already made their opening offer: full scholarships, private mentorship, and access to their quantum laboratories. Vexithara's tendrils darkened with frustration. The Zephyrian Institute was their primary rival, a prestigious academy that had dominated interstellar education for 3 millennia, but even they had never encountered anything like humanity's academic potential. It had started innocuously enough. When humans first achieved faster-than-light travel and made contact with galactic civilization, most species had dismissed them as primitive newcomers. Their technology was crude, their lifespans laughably short, and their home planet sat in an unremarkable corner of a mediocre spiral arm. The Galactic Academic Council had grudgingly offered a few token scholarship positions, more out of diplomatic courtesy than genuine interest. Then the first human students arrived. Dr. Sarah Chen, a biochemistry major from Earth's University of Cambridge, had solved a protein folding problem that had stumped Altarian researchers for 2 centuries. She accomplished this during what humans called finals week, apparently while surviving on nothing but caffeine and something called instant ramen. When questioned about her methodology, she had shrugged and said she'd pulled an all-nighter and tried thinking outside the box. The Altarian professors had spent months trying to decode what thinking outside the box meant, eventually publishing a 400-page theoretical framework on the concept. Marcus Rodriguez, an engineering student, had redesigned the Academy's fusion reactor during a casual maintenance assignment, improving its efficiency by 34% using what he described as basic problem solving and some duct tape. The fact that duct tape, a primitive adhesive strip, could enhance 1,000-year-old Vorthak engineering had caused 3 senior researchers to question their life's work. But it was Dr. Amara Okafor who had truly shattered academic conventions. The philosophy student had attended a symposium on the heat death of the universe, listened to 5 hours of existential despair from the galaxy's leading cosmologists, and then raised her hand to ask, "But have you considered that maybe that's not the end but just a new beginning? Like, what if entropy is just the universe taking a break to reorganize?" Her casual observation had spawned 17 new fields of theoretical physics and a religious revival movement among the crystalline communes of Andromeda. "Sir," Clicktar interrupted Vexthara's memories, "we've received intelligence that the Nexus Academy is prepared to offer humans their own dedicated campus." Vexthara's chromatophores flashed alarm colors. The Nexus Academy commanded resources that dwarfed most planetary governments. If they were willing to build infrastructure specifically for humans, the competition had reached a new level. The secret she had discovered through careful analysis wasn't that humans were inherently more intelligent than other species. Many races exceeded them in raw processing power, memory capacity, or sensory perception. The ethereal collective could perform calculations that would burn out quantum computers. The hive minds processed information across millions of nodes simultaneously. But humans had something unique. They were spectacularly, beautifully irrational. Where other species approached problems through established methodologies and logical frameworks, humans would leap directly to solutions through intuition, emotion, and what they called hunches. They would ignore established impossibilities and attempt the ridiculous. When told something couldn't be done, their typical response was, "Hold my beer," a phrase that had become synonymous with imminent breakthrough discoveries. Their creativity bordered on the supernatural. Human art students would casually propose concepts that revolutionized entire fields of expression. Their literature majors had introduced narrative techniques that had fundamentally altered how civilizations understood storytelling. Even their economists, a field most species considered barely theoretical, had developed models that actually predicted market behaviors. Most remarkably, humans seemed to thrive under pressure that would break other species. They called it stress. But what they described as their worst academic conditions, sleep deprivation, impossible deadlines, living on processed food, appeared to enhance their creative problem-solving abilities. Several studies had attempted to replicate these conditions with volunteers from other species, resulting in immediate medical interventions. Dean, Clicktar announced, "The human shuttle has arrived early." Vexithara composed herself, adjusting her formal academic regalia. Through the observation deck, she could see the crude human vessel settling onto their pristine landing platform. It was functional, ugly, and somehow managed to exceed all performance specifications. The airlock opened, and 3 human students emerged. Maria Santos, a dual major in xenobiology and music composition, David Kim, studying theoretical mathematics and ancient literature, and Jennifer Walsh, whose academic focus appeared to be everything interesting. Maria was already examining the Academy's architecture with obvious fascination, taking notes on her primitive paper pad. David had somehow produced a musical instrument and was testing how the Academy's acoustic systems affected its sound. Jennifer had wandered over to a decorative fountain and was now engaged in animated conversation with the maintenance staff, apparently discussing optimal water flow dynamics. They had been on campus for less than 5 minutes and were already demonstrating the peculiar human talent for finding connections and possibilities that others overlooked. Vexithara straightened her academic robes and moved to greet them, knowing that these 3 individuals would likely reshape their institution's entire approach to learning. The galaxy's elite academies weren't competing for human students despite their limitations. They were competing for them because of their impossible, irrational, magnificent potential to turn the universe upside down and somehow make it work better.